in a physics term, is the ability to do work, which simply means to affect the environment around you. So when you push a rock, have a thought, you project that around. When you do a fist, electron spinning, all affects the energy around it, changing the environment. Now, there are two different types of energy. There's kinetic energy and potential energy. Kinetic energy is the physical energy. It deals with motion. So when this rock drops, it gains speed and energy, and when it hits the ground, it dissipates into the ground, spreads out, lost but not forgotten. That energy that it took for me to lift it, I got from the sun from eating. So the amount of energy it took for me to lift it up to this height is the amount of energy that I ate, so I consumed as well, roughly. Potential energy is the more philosophical of the two. It deals with things that could happen but haven't happened yet. So if I'm holding the rock up here, I know how much energy it's going to gain when it hits the ground, and that's stored up here. So that's stored as potential energy. Another form of potential energy is like a nuclear bomb or nuclear fission. When you split an atom, that energy is stored inside the atom. You split it, bomb goes off. And also, as I like to think more spiritually of it, it's the thoughts that you have in your head. We as sentient beings can imagine all this around us. So we set this whole thing up. You thought, this is where I want my tent. This is where I want to set up the decorations. That was potential energy. And then when you performed it, came out as kinetic energy. You performed the task itself. So, yeah, like I was saying before, like that type of energy is like just like the water cycle. You take it in through the sun first. Sun is constantly beating on the ground, and then it sort of ends. It doesn't go back to the sun. It sort of ends with the energy dissipating into the ground. Sun shoots down, makes animal, i.e. animal, energy gets consumed, and then goes into the ground. Lost but not forgotten. So that is basically the gist of energy, like how that works. From there, I want to talk about what your aura is made out of. What every single thing that has mass and is alive, generates heat, is composed of. Now, an aura, or I like to call it, is the area of influence. So how far do you reach? So an aura is not, or an area of influence, is not made up of one unifying layer. It's made up of many different things layered on top of each other. So I'd like to start with the idea that everyone has the innate ability to sense auras. If you've ever stepped into a room and you thought, I don't like the vibe in here, or wow, the dance floor is really like everyone's in sync. You notice people like swaying back and forth. If you ever have those like, it's like, oh, I don't like my first introduction with him or her, it's like, oh, I don't, you just sensed energy. You all have that superpower. You just have had it since you were born and you haven't realized it. And that's a muscle you can exercise. So the first thing that your aura is made out of is the kinetic energy in your body. You have blood moving, neurons going, so you have this general flow. When you see those chakra posters, like that's basically kind of what it's showing, like this natural up and down flow of energy. I like to think of it as the natural flow of your body. And that makes up a lot of the sort of, a majority of the energy. The most interesting thing is the magnetic field that you produce. So magnets are produced when there's electricity. When electric current's running this way, magnetic field is produced perpendicular and circular to the current. So you have neurons in your brain, neurons all over your body, and you also have the blood transferring electrons between the metals. So you, in fact, have a magnetic field running around you, around your arm, around your legs. Yeah. And the cool thing about your magnetic field is that it alters depending on your mood. So if you look at a heart monitor, you see on TV, or if you've been to a hospital, you hooked up to a heart monitor, you hear that beep, beep. If you look in between the beats, there is a signature frequency that your blood is going at. And you can sort of file all those around and you can tell what someone is feeling. So your blood changes depending on what you're feeling. And through that change, like your blood sends messages to the brain, sends messages to the rest of the body, your blood changes your magnetic field. So you are constantly projecting your thoughts and emotions all the time. Also, with the neurons in your brain, you're also projecting what you're thinking as well. As these things change, you are just on broadcast at all times. But that's something you've always had since you were born. So it's a natural thing. Let's see. From there we have the gravitational layer. That's easy. Everything that has mass has gravity. So wherever your center of mass is, here, your arms around here all give off a gravitational field. It's weak, but it's there. And all things that are warm give off black body radiation. So you are constantly radiating, like your molecules are breaking down, you're constantly radiating as well. So once you add all those layers up, you get a nice unifying circle, but it's organic in all its shapes as well. Let's see. Any questions? Everyone good? That's sweet. All right. Let's see. From there, we can go into how you are. We're going to start talking about how you are more connected to everything around you and what that looks like. So, metals have a unique ability to share electrons with each other. It's just a unique thing that they do. It's cool. So, I want to talk about the importance of barefoot culture. For about 5 years of my life after I learned this, I was barefoot as much as I could, as much as I want. Rubber is what is it?
An insulator.
Insulator, there you go. So you can't exchange electrons with the ground that way. You have trace metals on your skin and in your body, and when you are planted on the ground, you exchange electrons. One electron goes in, one comes out. So you are filtering in electrons and filtering out. If you ever feel groggy or anything, you probably weren't wearing your shoes too long. You need to go out in the grass and the sand and get amongst it. And you can take that a step further. Oh, wait, before I say that, so this has to do with your sense of grounding. So that deals with your root chakra, your physical self, how you feel connected to the ground. And you can take that a step further with exchanging electrons with other people. So you have trace metals in your hands, all over your body. That's why it's important for humans to shake hands and hug and kiss and touch. It feels good. It's like you don't trust someone until you shake their hand, because now they're a part of you and you're a part of them. So it's fun. I'm sure a lot of us are big huggers, so that's probably why you feel that way. It's really innate and it's really nice. Let's see. So those things deal with our connection to the earth. All molecules that have been on here have been here ever since Earth's creation. So we've filtered through all the same atoms, all the same electrons, all of our ancestors, everything's been recycled, but all that has to do with how you're grounded to this planet. Quantum mechanics talks about how you are connected to everything, parts of it. So, to start off with some quantum mechanics, we're just going to start with an example. Do I have a volunteer in the crowd? Yeah. So quantum mechanics has to do with observing. Things has to do with being observed. Molecules will do different things from being observed, you witnessing them, to when you're not witnessing them. You guys are doing funky, crazy ass shit behind me, simply because I can't observe you. So we'll start off with an easy 50-50 scenario. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this shot glass all the way to the top.
2 shots of vodka.
Look. No. So here's her choice. You think in your mind whether you're going to take this shot or not, but you're going to go behind here, let no one see you, and make the decision to take a shot or not. Now that you're not observing her, there's 2 realities that now have just split. You guys aren't observing her, so now there's a 50% chance she took that shot, there's a 50% chance she didn't, and both are real. And until I move that back, and now you witness it, then reality crashes in on itself and then tells you what is actually happening. So, what happened?
I didn't take it.
There you go. More for me.
I take it you.
Yeah.
So, how that looks. So, one of the first experiments that showed this was the case, they would observe electrons. Like, scientists would observe electrons, and they would behave one way and very discreetly. They would look away, turn away, keep the machine running, and keep observing. And now the electron is turned into basically like a cloud. It's a 50% chance of being here, 30% chance being here, 20% chance being there.
So the double split.
Yeah. Huh?
The double slit experiment.
That has to do with light, and I don't think I can comment on that. Don't remember it.
No comments.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Is this kind of like the black cat?
Yes, that's exactly what I did, was the cat in the box. The original experiment was,
Schrodinger's cat?
yeah. You put him in the box with the cat and the poison. 50% chance it's dead, 50% chance it's not. But this was more fun.
And more fun for you.
They didn't actually do it.
And that's
So
cool.
quantum physics,
That's cool.
quantum physics only applies to subatomic particles.
Okay.
So all the subatomic particles behind me, so that's like, protons, neutrons, electrons, all those good stuff. Let's see. Oh, and I was just explaining it on a more level. So like the machine would keep running and the electron would have a cloud of possibilities. And then once it goes back, it shows you what's actually happening. All of them were real. All of them were true. So then that's when scientists started considering multiverse and, all the cool, crazy stuff that you hear today.
What would be an example of that? Like when all the realities can be true?
When all realities can be true? What do you mean?
Can all realities be true?
Like anything, I like to think quantum as anything that could happen has happened. But just not on our kind of observed level, like on our observed plane. Because when we do our physics equations, we take all the possibilities in. Anything that could happen has happened. And then it isn't until I see it and observe it that, yeah. Does everyone have a good concept of quantum? Now you can brag to your friends at bars. and stuff.
Talk about quantum.
Huh? And now we can talk about my favorite thing about quantum is quantum entanglement, or action at a spooky distance. So, when this blows my mind. So, everything we know everything that we can observe has a cause and effect. There's a certain amount of time things happen. So like when I speak, it takes 0.2 seconds, I don't know, for you to finally hear it, because it travels at a certain speed. Light takes 8 minutes to reach us from here. Nothing we knew was instantaneous, but quantum entanglement is instantaneous. So if you take an electron if you take two electrons in an atom and they're connected, and then you separate them over a distance, because they were connected together in this space, you separate them, separate them. Whatever you do to one will happen to the other at the exact same time, and they will do that all at the exact same time. There's no time in between. It's instantaneous. One rotates, the other one rotates too. Now what blows my mind is you can take that a step further and think about the Big Bang and how we were all together. When I was a kid, I would be like, how come I can just feel the moon? Like, how come I can just feel the stars? Like, there's no time in between. They're there. Like, I feel them. This helped explain that to me so well. It's like, God, that makes so much sense. We were all together at one point. Fuck yes. So that has to deal with kind of your crown chakra and how you're connected to everything. The sentient chakra space above you, that energy sphere.
Amazing.
Yeah. And now I can just go into how we know the Big Bang is real. Does anyone know how?
Jesus.
Jesus.
God bless.
God bless.
The Doppler effect.
Yeah?
The microwaves,
Yeah, it's background radiation. I was gonna do, that's true, but what I think is simpler is like if you just keep looking out further and further and further. Yeah, so light takes a certain amount of time to reach us. So we basically kind of see light in this like 2D sphere on your telescope. Stars that you're looking at might already be burnt out, but you're just seeing them as they are when the light reaches us. So you are looking into the past. As you are looking to a microscope, NASA takes their big microscopes and they go, telescopes.
We're looking at the past when we're looking at the
Yeah,
next.
they go further and further into the past as they go out and observe further in distance into space. And what they see is that galaxies start to come closer together again. Coming together, and then the galaxies themselves start to dissipate themselves. Like it's like you're rewinding the clock, and we see everything coming together, and then it's tons of fucking heat and chaos, and then black. And the blackness is simply because it's still fucking hot. Like the Big Bang was no big joke, but it was so dense, no light. There was no light. And for the Big Bang to be true, all the mass in the observable universe was condensed down to a singularity, which is just a point in space that's infinitesimal, same as a black hole. Yeah. And we know that this is true because we know how fast the universe is expanding, and the amount of energy it would take for the universe to be expanding that much. We know how small it all had to be in order for that to be true. We don't know if the universe is slowing down, but it is what it is. Yes.
How can they tell the universe is expanding?
They can tell the universe is expanding due to the red shift. So you can, when you're looking through a telescope, like you're looking at if you look at galaxies at a certain distance away, they're all, wait, let me explain this first in this way.
Dumb it down for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when a car is coming at you, it's, yes, the Doppler effect. So when a car is coming at you, the sound waves coming from it are speeding towards you, so they're being condensed, so it sounds an octave lower, or it's just lower frequency, and then when zoom, it goes by, those frequencies get longer. Oh wait, I did it the other way around. But you get the effect.
Think of an ambulance going past you. When it's coming towards you, and then when it goes past you, it sounds completely
so the
different.
galaxy, the light from the galaxy is a wave, so it's moving away, therefore the light is being stretched.
Okay.
So the light looks red, because red is the lowest visible light that we can see, and it all looks red. Everything in a sphere around us, past a certain point, is all moving away from us at the exact same speed. So that's how we know the universe is expanding. Everything's moving away at all points exactly the same.
So it's expanding, but is it going to come back?
I would like to think so.
And
I hope so. Science just tells what we know.
wait, is that when another Big Bang is going to happen?
Hope so.
Probably.
Hope so.
Would there be another
How long?
So in order for everything to come back together again, gravity would have to win. So the universe is expanding, but gravity is in constant battle to bring everything back together again. That's why we keep getting asteroids smashed into here. That's why we have a galaxy that's gonna crash into us soon. But gravity's fighting.
Wait, so
20-something gajillion fucking years. You'll be dead.
that's not a number.
Huh? I know.
Shut up. You can actually see it at night now.
Oh yeah, is it
I'll point it out to people if you want.
I would fucking love that.
I know where the Andromeda Galaxy is.
Yeah, because
Is that
someone
what
put
it's
that out.
called? Is it Andromeda?
Yeah.
Yeah, Andromeda Galaxy.
We should have a telescope.
But there's not enough. Yeah, but unfortunately, as we know, there is not enough mass in the observable universe to make everything come back together again. So as far as we know, it's just going to keep expanding and expanding.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What does that entail?
It means that everything's going to get further and further away from each other.
And you won't see anything in the night sky?
No, and everything's going to burn out and everything's going to die. But that just doesn't feel right to me. It's like everything is centrifugal, everything is in motion. it just can't just be like this long linear line and then it's done. You know, a lot of things are circular in cycle, and although I'm not a physicist, yeah, what's up?
Is it true like the stars further away from us are moving away faster than the ones closer to us?
No, they're all moving.
I think yes, because everything's moving away from everything else at the same rate. So like,
Yeah, everything's moving.
close galaxies are moving away from each other at the same rate as we're moving away from one of those galaxies. So if you think about our galaxy and another one moving away from each other, then the other one is moving away from that one. Double the speed moving away from us.
I don't think so, because that would imply that we're the center of the universe.
No, so it's at a so it's the way they explain it is it's a cone shape. If you add in the dimension of 9 kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to explain without like.
Yeah, I won't get into math.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
just, I don't know if I can answer that question with confidence. But yeah, it's all expanding. And I guess on a final topic that I'd like to talk about is dark matter, which is another abstract thing people don't know about. And we haven't been able to observe or see dark matter, as far as I know. I haven't looked up in the past 3 years, but we know it exists because the amount of mass. So let's talk about our solar system. The sun has enough mass to keep everything in orbit around us and everything neat and everything clean. None of the planets are getting close to each other or anything. Everything's just perfect. The sun has enough mass, gravity to keep everything in place. But most of all, if not all galaxies, don't have enough mass at their center to keep everything locked in place. So there's something else there that's keeping them there. So in order for the Milky Way to be, the way it is missing 80% of its mass. So 80% of the mass is dark matter that we can't see. So that has to exist in order to keep everything. So there's some other gravity mechanic. So to go back, maybe gravity will win and bringing everything back together again.
Is dark matter ether?
I'm not sure what ether is off the top of my head.
Space.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
I think like the light ether was something they theorized, like light was traveling through the ether, and then they found out that light was just a wave antiparticle, I believe.
Yeah, I think they used to refer to the ether as the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah. But those are all the things I wanted to talk about and tell you about, and for you guys to enjoy and think about on your trips.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. Thank you.
We're all gonna die!